Speaking of public opinion, a Bollywood film is making a brave attempt to shape it. Some of you may have seen it. It's called Oh My God 2. It's a sequel of the critically acclaimed Oh My God, which released in the year 2012. The themes are different, though. The first one challenged organized religion. The second one talks about sex education, or rather, the lack of it. At this point, I must give you a spoiler alert. We will be talking a little bit about the movie's plot. If not, the story does not work. So this is what happens. A boy is kicked out of school. Why? Because he's caught masturbating. You can guess what happens next. The teachers, the principal, everyone blames the boy, as if he's committed some sort of crime. His family thinks the same until they get a reality check. And that reality check is Akshay Kumar's character. He's supposed to be a messenger of Lord Shiva. He convinces the father that the boy is not at fault. The society is. So the father decides to sue the school. The rest of the film is a courtroom drama. I will not tell you how it ends, but I will tell you this. The message is positive and timely. Every Indian teenager should see and absorb this message. Just one problem, though. They can't. The film has an adult rating, meaning only people aged 18 and above can watch it. Sums up the problem, really. The movie is about why teenagers should get sex education, yet teenagers themselves cannot watch it in India. I know it doesn't make sense. Countries like Oman and the UAE have given this movie a 12+ rating. So children above 12 can watch it in theatres. And these are countries rooted in conservative thought. They ban things for the smallest of reasons, yet Oh My God 2 got a 12+ rating there. I know we give Bollywood a lot of pain for their toxic characters, for their glorification of misogyny, and sometimes for not doing enough. You see, Bollywood is famous for its song and dance culture, not for movies with meaning. For once, it tries to do the opposite, and this happens, an adult rating. India, of all countries, needs better sex education. Around 25% of our population is below 14 years of age. 27% is aged 10 to 24. But how many of them have access to sex education? It's almost non-existent at home. And what about schools? Surely the point of schools is to prepare students for everything. In India, private schools are free to choose. They may or may not include sex education. What about public schools? Well, a syllabus was introduced in the year 2005, but guess how state governments responded? 12 of them banned it. They said we won't teach sex education. Today, the ban remains in at least 5 states, the likes of Gujarat, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Why have they done so? Some politicians say sex education is against Indian culture. It's too vulgar and Western. I would ask those leaders to see this film. The movie explains how Indian culture has always had a mature and healthy approach to the subject. The Kama Sutra was written centuries ago. Temples like Khajuraho have erotic sculptures. The West did not make them. The British did not make them. We Indians did. So this conservative, narrow attitude towards sex education is not the Indian way. It's the Victorian way. And that's the point Oh My God 2 makes. It's actually an interesting way to tackle taboos. Challenging them outrightly can be dangerous. You may end up alienating a lot of people. So the film uses religion to justify change. Instead of proving what is right, you're showing what is wrong. It's complicated, but it works. It tells us why we need to have a nationwide conversation about sex education. In 2007, around 85% of young Indians had no access to it, 85%. This leads to multiple problems like unsafe sex, sexually transmitted diseases, sexual violence, child abuse. Around 45% of Indian women get married before the age of 24. 12% of them get married between 15 and 19. This is child marriage. Around 1/3 of these girls give birth before the age of 19. India has the second highest number of HIV cases in the world. 31% of those affected are between 15 and 29 years of age. So there is a problem. We need to acknowledge it and solve it. Talk about it to parents, to children, to students. In 2018, India's Prime Minister rolled out a new sex education syllabus. It was based on role play and activity. It was supposed to help 260 million teenagers. But you see, in India, education is not just the central government's job. The state can also decide on it. So you need both sides working together. If not, things won't change. I guess what we need is to broaden our outlook. Parents cannot shy away from uncomfortable conversations. If you don't talk to your child, they will resort to unreliable sources of information. As for the censor board, We need bolder decision-making, decisions also based in logic. You clear a movie with a Bhagavad Gita in a sex scene, yet you curb one that talks about sex education for teenagers. What gives? Such actions only prove the point this movie makes.